This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by the second annual Laurel Rosebud Golf Invitational, which is coming up on Monday, July 10th at the Omni Interlochen Resort in Broomfield, Colorado. Presented by the Laurel Rosebud Fund along with Medicine Man, the tournament starts with a cocktail dinner on the night of July the 9th, followed by a shotgun start to the tournament the next day at 10 a.m. Former NFL players Eugene Monroe and Ricky Williams will be in attendance, and all proceeds will go to our friends over at Students for Sensible Drug Policy and Doctors for Cannabis Regulation. To learn more about the Laurel Rosebud Golf Invitational and to find links to sign up both as a player and as a corporate sponsor, just open up Facebook and search for the phrase Rosebud Golf Invitational. You can also find a link on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Tuesday, June 6th, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 262 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is a series of remarks made late last week by Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein during an interview with the Associated Press, in which he said that the federal government was not aiming to put a lot more people in prison for drug crimes, even as the Department of Justice modifies its rules and procedures to do just that. In the wake of recently announced plans to overturn an Obama-era policy of reducing the use of mandatory minimum sentences by federal prosecutors, Rosenstein said the move would give prosecutors back the power of threatening extended jail time to low-level offenders in a bid to work up the organizational charts of criminal organizations. One thing to keep in mind here is that Deputy Attorney Rod Rosenstein is the guy President Trump got to write a letter justifying the firing of FBI Director James Comey, so a little bit of skepticism should be applied to anything he says. Tom Angel over MassRoots is reporting that a proposed marijuana banking measure is working its way through the U.S. Congress this week and could go up for a vote in a House committee later on today. Tom is reporting that a bipartisan amendment to a larger Republican-led finance and banking bill would free up banks from federal harassment for providing business banking services to state legal marijuana companies. Swing over to MassRoots for Tom's excellent and in-depth look at the proposed bill and its chances of making its way into law. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Our final top story of the day is the vote cast yesterday by the Cleveland City Council to roll back a moratorium on medical marijuana cultivation. The City Council first imposed the moratorium last year and said it was time for it to go so the city could start to realize some of the expected tax revenue generated from medical marijuana sales. The state passed a fairly comprehensive set of medical marijuana legislation last year that will allow sales to spool up sometime next year. Applications for the limited pool of cultivator licenses is opening this month, which likely helped propel Cleveland to dump their cultivator moratorium. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, the Laurel Rosebud Golf Invitational, which is coming up on July 10th in Broomfield, Colorado. If you like cannabis and you like golf and you like NFL football players and you like hobnobbing with important industry insiders, then you need to make it to this tournament. It's a perfect chance to network with some of the smartest people in the business of legal cannabis and to get a good day of golf in all at the same time. And if you have a legal marijuana business, the Laurel Rosebud Golf Invitational is a great place to advertise your products or services with a corporate sponsorship. To learn more and to sign up as a player and as a corporate sponsor, just open up Facebook and search for the phrase Rosebud Golf Invitational. You can also find a link on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. All right, time for the Blitz. State lawmakers in Nevada reached a deal late on Sunday night to solidify the state's planned tax rate for legal marijuana sales. At around 11 p.m. on Sunday night, the Senate passed a measure setting the rates at 10% for retail marijuana sales and 15% on cultivators. The House took up the measure yesterday, and it's expected that Governor Brian Sandoval will sign the bill into law. During a joint legislative meeting held yesterday by the Arkansas Senate and House Public Health Committee, the top lawyer at the state's health department said they expect that somewhere between 20 and 40,000 people will register as medical marijuana patients in the state once their program is up and running. Robert Breck also told the committee that it would cost around $1.5 million to operate the program over the next year. Democratic state legislative leaders in Connecticut said that they will allow the few members calling for the legalization of adult use marijuana to bring their issue to the floor of the state house, even though there is virtually no chance of any kind of reforms passing this time around. Speaker of the House Joe Arosimowicz said, quote, "We don't stifle debate within our caucus. They feel very strongly about it. They want a debate on the legalization of marijuana. They're preparing an amendment. At some point, it will run. There's no rock-solid agreement when that's going to happen, but we're not going to stifle the debate on it." Unquote. Marijuana Business Daily's chart of the week shows the rise of larger retail chains within Colorado's legal marijuana industry. Back in January of 2015, just under 20% of all legal marijuana dispensaries were owned by retailers with 3 or more locations, while just last month, that percentage grew to just over 32%. During that same period, the percentage of retailers with 3 or more stores in their portfolio grew from 6.7% to 9.2%. Canadian marijuana streaming company Cannabis Wheaton has canceled a planned $80 million investment deal from a number of banks because of what they say are, quote, multiple inflammatory false or misleading reports published primarily online by persons seeking to discredit the company, unquote. Cannabis Wheaton, which I've reported on a couple of times in the past, embraces a business model that pays marijuana cultivators right now for the rights to future crops. This is a good story to swing over for the full dive in. Toronto's medical officer of health thinks the Canadian government should immediately decriminalize marijuana until the process of legalizing adult use is pushed through next summer. In a new report issued by Dr. Eileen Davila, the point is made that arresting people for marijuana is actually bad for their health, raising the chances that they will face more limited access to economic opportunities and housing. In addition, Dr. Davila is recommending that the minimum age to buy marijuana be set at 19, that plain packaging rules be imposed on the industry, and that advertising guidelines be tightened up in regards to children. A small village in Ohio that chose to embrace legal marijuana cultivators has sold out all the available space within its designated marijuana cultivation business park. Johnstown sits around 20 miles to the northeast of Columbus and was loud about welcoming potential marijuana cultivators within its borders after the state passed medical marijuana legislation last year. Stories like this, especially once the facilities are up and running and generating revenue, will continue to go a long way in helping to push for further reforms in other states. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, the Laurel Rosebud Golf Invitational, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.